See if anyone's going to come in. Hello, hello. We'll be starting in just a moment. I'm going to give everyone 1 or 2 minutes to just join in and find the video. Then we'll start. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. Okay, that's about enough time. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good weekend. Yeah, this is going to be my last class for a few weeks during this month, the rest of April. I don't have any more Saturday videos, but I'll be starting up again in May, so look out for that. But yeah, for me, this is the last video for a few weeks. Got to get through midterms and things. But today we have a fun one. We have an interesting one. I'm really looking forward to some of your some of your replies in the chat room with this one. Today we're going to be looking at hypothetical situations. Hypothetical situations. Hypothetical means not real. So not real situations. And in hypothetical situations, I'm sure that you've heard this before. It's like saying, the questions almost always start with if. So if you could travel into the past, where would you go? What time would you go to? What would you do if you could travel into the past? This is a hypothetical situation. It's not real. You can't actually travel into the past, but it's conjecturing. It's talking about what if. Talking about things that are not real. This is a hypothetical situation. Now, my first question here is, how do we talk about hypothetical situations in English? Well, we're going to look at this in a bit more detail in just a moment. But usually with hypothetical situations, when we're asking questions, we start with if, and even if they're not questions, we use words like were instead of was, even for first person, if I were, not if I was. Also, we use words like could, would, should, might. We use these words to show hypothetical. Now, why do we use hypothetical situations? I think this is more important than how we make them, because we'll look at that in a minute. But why do we use hypothetical situations? Well, one common one that you might see in TV shows or movies is when someone wants to talk about something without actually talking about it. Like, for example, it's easier if I give an example of this. If there's a criminal talking to the police, and the criminal wants to tell the police something about this other criminal. He wants to tell the police about this other criminal so that they let him go. But the criminal shouldn't really tell the police anything, because the other criminal will get mad at him. Of course, you can't just tell the police everything. So he will use a hypothetical situation. They'll say, if I were him, maybe I would do this. So it's like, I'm not telling you what I did or what he did, but if I were him, this is what I would do. And the police understand. You could also use this to tell your husband or wife what they should do better. If I were you, I would clean the kitchen better. If I were you, I would do this kind of thing. So we use it to talk about situations without really talking about them. We use it to tell people what we think they should do. Not you should do this. It's if I were you, I would do this. That's how we use it. In addition, we use hypothetical situations to talk about, my brain just went blank. You ever have that happen? We talk about hypothetical situations to talk about situations that we're not really talking about, to tell people what we think they should do, and to talk about kind of wishes. Wishes in the future, wishes in the present, wishes in the past. For example, if I were to win the lotto, I would Or past, we can do past as well. If you had come home early last night, we wouldn't have fought. But you didn't come home early, and so we did fight. So it's important to know that when you use hypothetical situations in the past, they're unreal. They're called unreal situations. So let me write that sentence so that you can see what I'm saying. This is for past tense. If you had, and we're going to look at some more of these in more detail in just a moment, so don't worry. If you had come home early last night, we would not have fought. And of course you can reverse the order of this. You could say, we would not have fought if you had come home early last night. So this is a hypothetical about past last night, and it's called unreal because it's not real. If you had come home early last night, but you didn't, we would not have fought, but we did. So it's unreal. Again, it's what if. What if this had happened? Yeah, we're going to talk about some of these situations in a minute. Some situations about what if, because those are fun. Okay, let's see. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so here are my hypothetical tips. This is how to use hypothetical. When you're using hypothetical and you need to use a be verb like was, do not use was, use were. Even if it's for first person. If I were, don't say if I was. I know it sounds strange, but if I were, if you were, if he were, it's were, if we're using be verb. Only for these hypothetical situations. So if I were a rich man, I would never work again. If I were a rich man, I would never work again. This is my first hypothetical tip. Use were, not was. It's a pretty easy one to remember, I think. The next is, of course, I mentioned this before, use would, could, might, or another similar modal. So if you were smarter, there's the were, you would be nicer to me. Again, of course, these hypothetical situations are not real. It's not real. So I'm saying if you were smarter, but you're not smarter. It's not a very nice thing to say, by the way. If you were smarter, you would be nicer to me. Actually, this sentence, you might hear this in movies. It's a very threatening sentence. If you were smarter, you would be nicer to me. Maybe a big boss might say that to someone in a gang, like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? If you were smarter, you would not say that. So it's kind of threatening to say that, actually. So use would, could, might, or another similar modal. Next, use if and WH, like what, where, when, why, how, questions for hypothetical situations. These are good for questions, yeah. So If you could fly, where would you go first? If you could eat anything, what would you eat? If you could travel back in time, when would you go to? So use if and a WH word together for these hypothetical questions. And again, we're going to be looking at some of these pretty soon. And next, okay, this is a good one. I see lots of people, because it's kind of difficult, the difference between wish and hope in English. We're not going to talk, I don't have time to talk about the differences between those a lot. But I hear even people who are studying English as a second language, even if they're very advanced, they still make mistakes with wish and hope. It's easy to get these mixed up. I can't tell you all the differences right now, but let's look at 2 ways to use wish. Let's look at 2 ways to use wish with hypothetical situations and the grammar, how we do the grammar. So use wish and simple past for present hypothetical situations. I know that sounds crazy, but use simple past for the present. So look at this example sentence. I wish you listened to me more. This is not past tense. This is a present hypothetical. I wish you listened to me more. All the time. He's saying all the time, I wish that you listened to me more. We're going to look at past tense in a minute. But remember, wish plus simple past means present hypothetical situation. And we have Luna saying in the comments, I hope plus subject and verb, and I wish plus subject and ed, I guess. VED, verb EED. So past tense. I hope you go. I wish he... Yeah, that works as well. I hope with subject and present tense verb. We're not going to be looking at hope right now, though. Although that could be... That's not really a hypothetical. That's the reason we're not looking at it today. So I wish you listened to me more. Now, to make it past hypothetical, we use past perfect. Now, past perfect is had plus PP, past participle. So I wish you had listened to me last night. So if you want to talk about a hypothetical in the past, we use wish if you want something to happen, but it didn't, plus past perfect. So I wish you had listened to me last night. Again, this is an unreal situation, which means that this person did not listen. I wish you had listened, but you didn't. And because of that, something bad happened. So again, hypothetical tip number 4 is wish plus simple past is for present hypothetical situations, and wish plus past perfect is for past hypothetical situations. And future is pretty easy. It's just if you could. It's just using those modals. If I could, if you would, if you might. These are just the modals make it future or even present sometimes. Okay, let's see. Luna says, I hope something can be changed. I wish can't change the situation. Wish can change the situation if you're talking about like my tip number 4 for a present. I wish you listened to me more. This can be changed. Yeah, this is possible. All I'm saying is that this is hypothetical right now because it's not real right now. You don't listen to me more right now. You can change this, but right now it's not true. So I wish you listened to me more means that it can be changed, but right now it's not. Okay, let's look at some hypothetical situations and let's try to answer them in the comments, in the chat room. I want lots of answers here. I want lots of people responding. And I've given you the beginning of the sentences to help you, but you can write a different sentence if you want. So my first question is, if you could have a superpower, which superpower would you want? So, if I could have a superpower, I would blah, 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 blah. You can change the sentence if you want, but if you want, you can use the beginning of this sentence. If you could have a superpower, what superpower would you want? For me, I'll write my answer. Let's see, Luna says, if I could have a superpower, I would have teleportation so I could travel. That's good. Teleportation is a fun one. I would like to time travel. I don't want to just travel in space. I want to travel in time. Jung Daun has the same idea as me. I would turn back time. Yeah, that's good. I want to recommend a TV show for you. This TV show has, I think, 3 or 4 seasons. But to be honest, don't watch the other seasons. Just watch the first season. The first season is amazing. After that, it's not a very good show. It's just not worth it. But the first season is amazing. It's a little bit old. It's an old show. And it's called Heroes. The first season is amazing. After that, it really goes downhill. But even just watching the first season is worth it. It's such a good show if you've ever seen it. Let's see, Ginny, if I could have a superpower, I would want to predict the future so I can win lottos. Well, see, I can time travel, so I can just go back in time and do it. No problem. Luna has seen it. Yeah, season 1 was amazing. That's season 2 and 3 went downhill. Season 1, it's a good one. Now I have to rewatch that. I haven't seen that in a long time. Haven't thought about it in a long time. Right now, my wife and I are watching Grey's Anatomy. Very different from Heroes. Okay, so we have, if I could have a superpower, I would time travel. If I could have a superpower, I would use teleportation. If I could have a superpower, I would win the lotto or predict the lotto. I also, if I could have another superpower, I want the power to never have to sleep. I don't want to sleep anymore. I want all that time. Waste so much time sleeping. That would be nice. Okay, let's see about the next question. Oh, wait, we have another one. If I get a superpower, I would have gone on a time trip. So lots of time travel ones. Yeah, time travel is a fun one. Okay, about my next question. If you were super rich, what would you do with your time? If you were super rich, what would you do with your time? If you were super rich, what would you do with your time? I'll write my answer. If I were super rich, I would read books, write books, and travel. Luna, if I were super rich, I would buy lots of supercars. Ooh, supercars. What kind of supercars are we talking about? Because there's different supercars. There's like, there's the Mustang, there's the Ferrari, Lamborghini, then you go up to like Bugatti, and that's expensive. I actually saw a Bugatti once in Korea. I saw a Bugatti in Seoul. It's the only time I've ever seen one. If you don't know what Bugatti is like, it's like a ship-ok car. It costs like ship-ok. It's way more expensive than Ferrari or Lamborghini. They're crazy expensive. Luna likes Lamborghinis. Jung Daun would go on a long vacation. Life would be a vacation. life would just always be a vacation. Anju Shin says, if I were super rich, I would do everything I want. Well, yeah, but what do you want? That's the question. What do you want to do? And Jenny, if I were super rich, I would spend my time helping or teaching people who need help. Oh, that's a nice answer. You're being a good person. We're just going on vacations and relaxing and driving supercars. You're helping the world. And Small Tree says the same thing. If I were super rich, I would help poor neighbors in the world. That's nice. I'm a poor neighbor. You can help me. Okay. Super rich is a fun one to think about. I mean, I'm sure that everyone occasionally buys a lotto ticket. We've bought lotto tickets before, but we never win anything. Nothing. We're lucky if we win Ochunwon. Let's see. Yuntu Mom says, if I were super rich, I would like to buy a penthouse. I'm guessing Baekpyeong, 100 size. That's big. That's a big house. See, I want to move back to the UK and have a nice house in the Cotswolds, which is an area outside Oxford, which is really nice. That's where I'd like to live. Right next to a pub. Lo Alice says, if I were super rich, I would travel all over the country. That's nice, but not just the country. You could travel all over the world. You can have your own yacht, your own ship, and travel around the world. Your own airplane if you want. Dream big. Okay, let's look at the next hypothetical situation. If Jurassic Park were real, would you visit? If Jurassic Park were real, I would visit after 2 or 3 years. That's my answer. If Jurassic Park were real, I would visit after 2 or 3 years. I would not visit in the very beginning. I feel like that's a mistake. They need to fix everything first before I go visit. I don't want to be the first person there. That seems, in the Jurassic Park movies, that's always a bad idea. Chung Daun says, I would not. Luna says, if Jurassic Park were real, I would visit there because my kids would love that place. Would. Good. Again, I would love to go, but I'm not going first. I'll go a little bit later. Anju Shin says, if Jurassic Park were real, I would never, ever go there. Never, ever, never? The movie scared you too much? Yeah, Luna has the right idea. Chris Pratt's going to be there. Yeah, you got to go to Jurassic Park, at least for Chris Pratt. We all love Chris Pratt. If for no other reason. Even if you don't want to see the dinosaurs. If you love Chris Pratt, okay, I have another TV recommendation. This is where one of his earlier roles, before he really started to appear in movies, before he got big and muscular, he was in a very, very funny TV show called Parks and Recreation. And if you can find that and if you can watch it, that's a good TV show. That's where he's really funny in that show, Parks and Recreation. And that's before he got all big and muscular. Young Two Mom says, if Jurassic Park were real, I would want to ride on a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Really? I'm not going anywhere near the Tyrannosaurus Rex. No, thank you. No, thank you. Let's see. Okay, next is question number 4. This is a good one. I like this question. If you could be a different person for a day, who would you be? So you can switch bodies with somebody. If you can be a different person for a day, who would you be? If you could be a different person for a day, who would you be? And I have an interesting answer to this one I'm going to save. So if you could be a different person for a day, who would you be? Luna says, if I could be a different person for a day, I would be a model. Why? Just to, I don't know, just to be famous or to look in the mirror? Why would you be a model? Pinjushin says, if I could be a different person, I would be a teacher during a test. So instead of the student, you're the teacher. Let me tell you, it's not as exciting as you might think it is. That's not a very exciting time. I'll write my answer. Luna says, because I'm not that tall and beautiful in pictures. Haha. My answer is, if I could be a different person for a day, I would be an astronaut on the International Space Station. Why? Because it might be the only chance I ever get to go to space. I would change bodies with an astronaut on the ISS, on the International Space Station. Just be able to be up there and see the Earth from space. I think that'd be really cool. Young Two Mom says, if I could be a different person, I want to be a famous actor. If I could be a different person, yeah, I would want to be a famous actor. I would want to be a famous actor. Luna has one more. I've got one more. If I could be a different person for a day, I would be Benedict Cumberbatch, because I love his voice and I would like to speak with that voice. Yeah, that's a good answer. Benedict Cumberbatch, very good actor. He has a very nice melodic voice. If you've seen the Hobbit movies, you know, not Lord of the Rings, but the newer ones, the Hobbits, Benedict Cumberbatch is the dragon's voice. He's the dragon. Let's see. Chongdong. Oh my, I would want to be a millionaire. A millionaire. Then you can just send all the money to your other self, to your other original body. There we go. Be somewhere like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk and just send all their money to you. So when you go back to your original body, you're rich. There we go. Alice says, if I could be a different person, I would be Martha Argerich, because I want to play very well. I don't know who that is. Can you tell me who that is? Maybe I should know who that is, but I don't. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Oh, piano. Oh, okay, she's a piano player. Okay, that'd be cool. If you could live anywhere. Oh, I have a typo here. Where would you live? Not where would you live. If you could live anywhere, where would you live? If you could live anywhere, where would you live? If you could live anywhere, where would you live? And Luna has the first answer. If I could live anywhere, I would live under the sea. I heard there's a house under the sea. Are you talking about Atlantis? Or no? Oh, you're talking about like a real house. I think I've seen these on YouTube. They build houses under the sea. That would be interesting. I don't think there's many supermarkets and convenience stores and deliveries under the sea. I think that would be the problem. Ordering gyochon chicken would be very difficult under the sea. For me, if I could live anywhere, I would live either in the UK or in New Zealand. I think New Zealand would be a fun place to live. Unju Shin says, if I could live anywhere, I would live... Ooh, see, now that's a good answer. I would live in a 5-star hotel. That's a great answer. I wish I had thought of that. I would live in a 5-star hotel. That'd be great. Room service every day, and don't ever have to clean your own room. They come and clean it themselves. That would be nice. In says, if I could live anywhere, I would live around the North Pole. Why? Why would you live around the North Pole? There has to be a good reason, but no thank you. No thank you. Yeah, no thank you. I saw a video of this this girl who lives close to the North Pole, way up north, because she's like a scientific researcher, and she has 2 big dogs for pets, but also for protection. And when she takes them for a walk, she has to like put on all sorts of clothes and jackets to stay warm. She has to bring a backpack for survival in case she gets lost. She has to bring all sorts of flashlights because it's 6 months of the year. It's just nighttime, never turns day. And she has to bring a big rifle, a big gun, in case she sees polar bears. That's just to take the dogs for a walk. I do not want to live up there. That's too much. Too much. Just to take your dogs for a walk. Okay, Jenny says, if I could live anywhere, I would live in Canada. That's nice. Canada's nice. Young Two Mom says, if I could live anywhere, I would like to live in the middle of... In what, New York? I think you mean New York City, not the state. You don't want to live in the middle of New York State. It's just mountains and forest and not big city. Maybe New York City. And technically, if you're living in the middle of New York City, if you're living right in the middle of New York City, you're homeless because you're living in Central Park. So maybe not right in the middle, because Central Park is right in the middle. Let's see. Jung Down says, I want to live someplace very quiet with mountains at the back and a lake in the front. Now that sounds lovely. That sounds nice. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, let's look at the next one. Number 6, if you discovered a new island and it became your island, what would you name the island? If you discovered a new island and it's yours, you get to keep it because you discovered it. What would you name it? What would your new island be called? And I have the perfect answer for this one. But I will wait for some of you. So if I discovered a new island, I would name it da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Luna says, if I discovered a new island, I would name the island as Lunar. I guess Lunar Island, because you're Luna. Jung Dalun would name it Mine. Mine. It's mine, all mine. Anyone else? I'll type my answer. If I discovered a new island, I would name it Whole Island. Let's see. Luna says, I hope the island would not sink. Yeah, well, I hope so. Wenjushin says, if I discovered a new island, I would name it Korea. That would get very confusing. Yuntu Mom says, if I discovered a new island, I would build a house. Well, that's a good idea. Of course you need a house. Yeah. If I discovered a new island, I would name it Whole Island. you know why I would name it Whole Island? Do you know why? Because if you put the two words whole island together, it becomes Hollis Land, which is my name, Hollis. So Whole Island becomes Hollis Land. That would be my island. A Hollis Island. Whole Island. Yeah. One day maybe, if I'm super crazy rich, I'll have Whole Island. Hollis Land. Okay, let's look at the next one. If the whole world were listening, what would you say? So let's imagine that you have a telephone and you can talk for 30 seconds. For 30 seconds you can talk to everyone. Everyone has their phones and everyone's listening to what you have to say. For 30 seconds, everyone on earth will listen to you. What are you going to say? Oh, Chung Dawn says mine, the island name mine. You know, so whenever people visit, they would feel that it's theirs. That's nice. So people would feel like it's their island when you visit. Not for me. It's my island. Don't visit my island. This is a Hollis Land. No visitors allowed. So, if the whole world were listening, what would you say? Oh, my example sentence. Sorry, my example sentence is wrong. Not if I were super rich. If the whole world were listening, I would say, sorry, I should have proofread. If the whole world were listening, I would say what? What would you say? For 30 seconds, everyone's going to listen to you. Luna says, if the world were listening, I would stop the war and denuclearize all countries. You'd have to convince them. It's not like they're robots and they're just going to say, oh, yes, yes, of course. You have to convince them. Jung Daon says, I would want to say, let's recycle. Let's recycle. That's good. Hopefully everyone will listen. Some people will not listen. Let's love this world. That's a very good answer. Let's save the earth. Yan Tu Mom says, if the whole world were listening, I would like to say, watch out for Corona. Yeah, that's a good one. Watch out for coronavirus. Everyone needs to wear your masks. Come on, people. Everyone wear masks. Everyone wash your hands like crazy. Luna says, if the world were listening, I would say, I'm super cool. Here's my bank account number. I added that last part, but yeah. Tell people to send you money. Why not? Okay, let's look at the next one. We have a few more left. Oh, this is another fun question. If you were stuck in the last movie you watched, what would you do? So for this one, think about the last movie that you watched. Oof, for me, this is not a good situation to be in. So the last movie I watched was a movie called Greenland, which is about the end of the world. A meteorite hits the earth. So if I'm in that movie, I'm dead. I'm probably dead. So that's not a good movie to be stuck in. But if you were stuck in the last movie that you watched, what would you do? What's the last movie you watched and what would you do? Let's see. Let me read some of these comments. Injushin says, if the whole world were listening, I would say nothing. Because even if I said something, some of them won't understand. That's probably true. Kind of a sad way to look at it. But Luna says, I don't want to. My last movie was Tenet. Oh, Tenet. Oh, my goodness. Everything's moving backwards. I think Tenet could have been a good movie. I like Christopher Nolan's movies. but the sound in that movie was so messed up. It was like the music was so loud I could never hear what anyone was saying. It's an English movie. I should be able to understand them, but I had to turn on subtitles because I couldn't hear anybody. They really didn't do a good job with the sound mixing in that movie. Corona, go away. I think that's what Small Tree would say if everyone were listening. So if you were stuck in the last movie, what would you do? Yeah, if you were stuck in that movie, if you were stuck in Tenet, you would go crazy. It's a very difficult to understand movie. Anyone else? What's the last movie you watched, and what would you do if you were stuck in it? If I were stuck in the last book I read, that'd be cool. The last book I read was Lord of the Rings. I'd be happy to be stuck in there. Live in the Shire. Be a hobbit, maybe. What's the last TV show I watched? The last TV show I watched was Grey's Anatomy. I don't want to be stuck in there because I'm probably a patient. I'm probably sick. Then Two Mom says, if I were stuck in the movie I watched, I would be crying. What's the movie? We have to know what the movie is. Let me go back here so you can see the sentence. Let's see. Linda says my kid's last movie was Winnie the Pooh. If I were stuck in there, I might kill all of them because they are so slow and stupid. Okay, that's kind of violent. I don't know if I've seen the Winnie the Pooh movie. Is that a new movie? Not sure. Okay, while I'm waiting for comments from this, I'll wait a little bit longer. Give me some comments. Let's move on to the next question. We have two more of these, then I have some phrases we can use for hypothetical situations. If you were a car, what car would you be? If you were a car, what car would you be? Would you be a Ferrari? Would you be a Lamborghini? Would you be a Kia Morning? What car would you be? Need some water. So if you were a car, what car would you be? Luna says, if I were a car, I would be a Hummer. That's a big, strong car. My goodness. That's a good one. That thing is so hot. I'm assuming you mean the original Hummer or the new Hummer? I think the original Hummer was cool. If I were a car, I would be a, what is that car called? Now I have to search. Citroen, I think I would be a Citroen 2CV. That's what I would be. I would be a Citroen 2CV. If you don't know what that is, I guess you got to look online. It's not a fast car. It's not the coolest car, but I think it's a really unique, interesting looking car. In says, if I were a car, I'd be a food truck. Hey, that's an original, that's thinking outside the box. I like that. You'd be a food truck. I like that. That's a good answer. Yeah, everyone wants to be friends with the food truck. I would be a Citroen 2CV. Andrew Shin says, if I were a car, I would be a super old car so that nobody could drive me and I could play all day long. Nice. Hopefully a nice super old car. Jenny says, if I were a car, I would be a Chevrolet truck. Why a Chevy? Why a Chevrolet truck? That's an American car. I used to see lots of those when I was younger. Don't see many of them in Korea though. Yeah, Chevrolet truck. good. No one said Kia morning. I guess you have self-respect. No one wants to be a Kia morning. Or what's that other tiny Korean car? The Tico, I think. No one wants to be a Tico. Let's see. Last question. Here's a hard one. If you had to lose an arm or a leg, which would you choose? If you had to choose, I'm going to cut off my arm or I'm going to cut off my leg. What do you choose? Small Tree says I would be a K9 tank. Wow. Tico, I don't think they're making Ticos anymore. I'm just saying, if you were a car, you could be a Tico. But no one wants to be a Tico. So if you had to lose an arm or a leg, which one would you choose? Small Tree, I will protect my country. I'll be a K9 tank. Is it a K? What's a K? I don't know what a K9 tank is. Let's see. Let me search on Google. See what it looks like. Oh, whoa. That is quite the tank. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you could protect your country with that. Let's see. Unjushin says, if I had to lose my right arm, which I study with. Well, if I had to lose an arm or a leg, I would choose my left leg or my right leg or my right arm or my left arm. Luna says, if I had to lose an arm or a leg, I would lose my left arm and attach the Iron Man arm. Hey, that's a good idea. Attach the Iron Man arm. The Full Metal Alchemist arm. That's what I would have. If anyone has seen Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, have like a robot arm. So would you lose an arm or a leg, or what would you lose? Yeonju Mom says, if I had to lose an arm or leg, I would be so sad. Well, yeah, no one wants to. But which would you choose, the arm or the leg? I don't know. That'd be hard for me. Maybe the left arm, maybe one of the legs. Not my right arm. I need that to write. Yeah. So what would you choose? Luna knows what Full Metal Alchemist is. That's a good show. He loses one arm and one leg. And he has like a robot arm and leg. Jenny says, if I had to lose an arm or a leg, I would choose an arm because I love to walk or run free. Excellent. See, that's kind of my thought is I want to be able to run around and walk, but technology is advancing to where I think you could have a really good robot leg before you could have a really good robot arm. Because the fingers are hard to make right. So it'd be a hard choice for me. Okay, we have 12 minutes left. Let's go through some of these phrases very quickly. So if only. This is a phrase that we use plus the simple past tense to talk about a hypothetical situation that we wish were true. We wish it were true. So if only I had more time. It means I don't have time, but I wish I had more time. If only I could travel right now, but we can't because of coronavirus. If only, you can also use this with past perfect. We could say, if only I had woken up earlier this morning, but I didn't wake up earlier this morning. If only. You might even hear people in movies say this, just if only. Just that's it. Like, if one character says, oh, I wish I had $1 million. The other character might say, oh, if only. If only means that me too, I wish that. That would be very nice. So you can even use it, just those two words, just if only, in response to a wish. To mean like, oh, I wish I could do that. If only. If only that were possible. So we can use this to say that we wish a hypothetical situation were true. If only I had more time. If only I could do this. Let's try to write a sentence very quickly. I only have a few of these. We have a few minutes. I think we have time. So if only I could go to the gym. If only I could go to the gym means I wish I could go to the gym. But I can't because I don't have time and because I'm a little bit scared to because of COVID-19. I don't want to go inside places if I don't have to. But it means I wish I could. If only I could go to the gym. What would you like to do? If only what? If only I could. If only I had. Anyone? If only I could eat out. Yes, I have not eaten. Our family is very careful. We're very, 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 very careful. So I have not eaten inside of a restaurant in like a year. We order food, we take food out, pojang, but we don't eat inside restaurants. So I mean, yeah, I wish that would be nice. I would like to eat in restaurants again. I would like to go movie theaters again. I would like to take my kids to the kids cafe so they can use all of their energy. Chung Daun says, if only I could go back home. I understand that too. I'd like to go visit some people. If only I ate endlessly. So you just want to keep eating. That's a good answer. If only I could eat endlessly. Okay, good. Let's move on. But if you want to keep answering, that's great. But let's move on. It's time, or it's about time. The about is optional. And we use this to talk about a hypothetical situation that should happen soon, that needs to happen soon, that it's a good idea to happen soon. So my example is, it's time, or it's about time, you start waking up earlier and studying harder. This means that soon, very soon, you should start waking up earlier and studying harder. So this is talking about a hypothetical situation that needs to happen soon. So I'll give my answer. It's about time. It's about time I go on a diet. Means I need to go on a diet soon. I need to start a diet soon. And again, the about is optional. You don't have to use the about. You can say it's time or it's about time. Let's see. Ginny says, if only I had eaten healthy food, I would not have worried about my cholesterol levels. That's a good answer, sad answer, but good. Very, very good grammar. Small Tree says, I will listen to if only I could listen to all the language and cultures of the world. Yeah, if we had time, that would be nice. Luna asks, is it different from the phrase, it's time to? It's time to, with the to, like the infinitive. Like if I say, it's time to go on a diet, this is more immediate, more like you need to do it now. It's more immediate, more, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a stronger emotion. It's time to go on a diet. It means right now, I need to do it. No more waiting. It's about time to go on a diet. It's similar feeling, but not as strong. It's like soon, very soon. Not right now, but very soon. In says, it's time I study midterm exams. Yeah, it's about time. It's time for you to study midterm exams. Not quite, but very soon. So yeah, it's time to do something. It's just more immediate. Okay, let's look at the next one. I'd rather. So use this phrase plus the base form of a verb. When I say the base form of a verb, I mean, we also call this the bare infinitive. It means don't change it. No verb conjugation. Just don't say goes, don't say went, just say go. Don't say ate, don't say eaten, say eat. Not eats, just eat. The base form of the verb. To talk about your preferences now or in the future. So my example is, I'd rather my family go on vacations more often. It means that I hope or I wish that my family would go on vacations more often. So again, hypothetical situation. We don't go on vacations very often, but I would like my family to go on vacations more often. So I'd rather my family go on vacations more often. I'll write my example here. I'd rather he pay me back now. So I wrote this example. I'd rather he pay me back now, because I want you to see that even though it's he, which is a third person singular, we don't say he pays. Normally you would say he pays me back. He does this. He eats this. But with after rather, it's just the base form of the verb, just the bare infinitive. So I'd rather he pay me back now. So not pays. Luna says, I'd rather I study harder, not myself. We only use myself. That's a reflexive pronoun. That's for object, but you're not the object in that. You're the subject. I study harder, not me study harder. I'd rather I study harder. Or just, I'd rather study harder. I'd rather I study harder. That's good. I'd rather I study harder than be lazy every day, you could say. Let's see. I'd rather I buy a lot of Bitcoin and Tesla stocks. Yeah, Bitcoin. Buy some Bitcoin. It's expensive now, but it's still a good time. Tesla too. Tesla's low right now. I'd rather I study harder. That's good. I'd rather my school have a longer vacation. Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'd rather you stay home for this summer vacation. Nice. Good examples. Let's look at the next one. I'd rather plus past perfect to talk about preferences in the past. So if you want to talk about a regret, this is good for regret. I'd rather we hadn't stayed out so late last night. Means that we did stay out late, and I really regret it because now I don't feel good. Now I'm tired today. So I'd rather we past perfect. And this shows regret for the past. So you could say I would rather I hadn't drunk so much soju yesterday. So that means I did drink too, not really, but in this sentence it means I drank too much soju, and now I'm feeling really bad today. Yeah, Luna had the same idea as me. I'd rather we hadn't drunk all night. Drunk, not drank. Past perfect. Past perfect uses the past participle. Drink, drunk. Swim, swum. I'd rather my school have a longer vacation. I'd rather you stay home for the summer vacation. I think I already read those. Okay, yeah, I'd rather or I would rather. I mean, that's just the longer version of it. Okay, we're running out of time. I want to do this last one. Last one right here. I wouldn't even if Use this phrase to talk about something you definitely would not do in a hypothetical situation. So this is talking about something you will never, ever do. And this is how it usually looks. This is a good example sentence. I wouldn't go on a date with you even if you were the last person on earth. Very strong hypothetical situation. Very strong, I wouldn't do this. So I wouldn't travel to the North Pole even if you paid me. Maybe I would. Maybe I would travel to the North Pole. But here's a good example. I wouldn't travel to the North Pole even if you paid me. So yeah, these are common ones. Even if you were the last person on Earth is a good one. Even if you paid me is another good one. Another even if. These are very strong hypothetical situations in which you would never do something. So can you give me an example? And then we're done for today. We're done. Yuntu Mom says, I'd rather I ate an apple than cake. That's present. Maybe you're talking about past. I'd rather I had eaten an apple than cake, maybe. Luna says, I wouldn't talk to you even if you kneel. So you're like a queen. I have to kneel before you. That's a good, perfect grammar. Good example. This sounds like something a king or a queen would say. Anyone else? Anyone else? I wouldn't do anything today, even if I have a ton of homework. So you're saying that even if you have a ton of homework, you won't do it? You won't do any of your homework? That's what it sounds like. I'm not sure if that's what you're trying to say in. I wouldn't do anything today, even if I have a ton of homework. Even if I had a ton of homework. Has to be had. Tung Down says, I wouldn't buy a sports car, even if I had the money to afford it. I agree. Neither would I. I would not buy a sports car. If I really, really, really needed to buy a car, I'd buy a Tesla. Is that a sports car? I'd buy an electric car. Or an old car. But it's not as safe. Jenny, I wouldn't eat broccoli even if I starved to death. Wow. You really hate broccoli. That's a great sentence, though. These are, Tung Dao and Jenny, these are good sentences. Very good grammar. But I'm afraid that's it for today. I'm afraid we're done. So, yeah. Again, this is my last video for a few weeks. I'll be back in May. Yeah, got to take a break for midterm and things. But I'll see you again in a few weeks. I hope you join again. Good luck on all of your midterm exams. Study hard. If you're in any of my classes, we're going to have quizzes starting next week. So please do those. And enjoy your weekend. It's where I am, it's raining. So I can't really go outside. I wish I could. But I hope where you are, it's not raining. And I hope you can have a good weekend. Have a good day. Bye.